Many Christians believe they're ready for the rapture simply because they go to church, pray, or wear the right label. But Jesus sees deeper. He sees the heart. The rapture filter has already begun. And it's not separating the religious from the worldly, but the truly surrendered from those who are just pretending. If you're watching this, it might be because you're being called to examine your heart before it's too late. My name is Emily Martinez, and I am 55 years old. For 12 years, I have worn the simple habit of a nun at St. Catherine's Monastery in the deserts of New Mexico. Yet one morning, under the merciless sun, everything I thought I knew came crashing down. Before we continue, comment where you're listening and want to help this video reach more people around the world. Let me take you back to a typical Tuesday morning in June. The day begins as it always does. The bell rings at 5:30, a clear metallic sound cutting through the still dawn air. You shuffle along the narrow hallway with the other sisters, your sandals brushing against the cool flagstones. Incense hangs faintly in the chapel. The air is dry, tinged with the smell of desert dust. Morning prayers drift like whispers into the rafters, your voice mingling with the others. By 6:15, you are seated at the plain wooden table for breakfast, black coffee, a slice of bread, a small bowl of fruit. Outside, the desert already blazes. By 8 o'clock, the sun burns hot, flattening every shadow. You bend down in the small chapel garden, repairing the cracked irrigation pipe that feeds rows of tomato plants. The air smells of soil and green leaves. Sweat drips from your forehead, falling on the dry earth. Then it happens. A pain like fire explodes in your chest. It radiates down your left arm, crushing and sharp, seizing every breath. You try to call out, but your voice sticks in your throat. The world spins, colors bleeding like watercolor into rain. You think, this is how I die, alone in a garden under the merciless sun. Your knees buckle, the sky swirls above, and then everything goes black. But death is not what you expect. There is no void, no silent abyss. Instead, light, warm, golden, like honey poured through crystal. It surrounds you, embraces you, holds you. You feel weightless, free of the pain in your chest, free from the aching joints of age. You drift upward, leaving behind the broken body in the dust. Then you see him, not the pale figure from the paintings hanging in your chapel, but alive, radiant, burning with a love that pierces you to your core. His eyes hold the story of every soul that has ever lived. His presence overwhelms you, so heavy with love that you collapse to your knees in this place of light. You weep, tears streaming with a joy you never imagined possible. His voice is music, thunder, whisper, all at once. Emily, you have served faithfully in the small things. Now I will show you what is to come, so that you may warn my people. The scene changes in an instant. You are no longer standing in that golden glow, but looking down upon the earth as if suspended above it. The desert shrinks, the mountains recede, the world rolls out beneath you, and something moves across it, subtle, invisible, yet undeniable. It is not a storm, not an army, not anything the human eye would detect. It is a filter, shifting like a cosmic sieve. Through this filter, some people glow with a soft, steady light, while others stand shrouded in shadow though their faces look the same. You lean forward, straining to understand. Jesus whispers beside you, his voice carrying both tenderness and sorrow. What you see is the rapture filter. It has already begun. My children, imagine a trumpet blast, a single moment when they will be swept away. But the harvest begins when the grain ripens, not when the reaper arrives. The weight of his words presses on you. The separation is not future. It is now. Hearts are being weighed already. Souls are being sifted, not by outward rituals, but by surrender. The glowing ones are those who have bent their wills to his. The shadowed ones are those who sing, preach, or kneel without ever letting him reign inside. You stare, stunned. Churches across America appear below you, congregations raising their hands in worship, voices ringing out in songs of praise. But many who look holy are already counted as shadow. Jesus continues, his voice breaking with sorrow. They know about me. They speak my name. They quote scripture. But they have never surrendered. Their hearts remain their own kingdoms. I was invited only as a guest when convenient. And now the filter reveals the truth. A chill runs through you though you are bathed in heavenly light. The filter passes quietly through homes, Bible studies, prayer circles, separating in silence. No one on earth notices, yet the divide grows wider every moment. Jesus turns toward you. Emily, time is shorter than anyone believes. The filter is testing every heart now, and the day approaches when what has been hidden will be seen. You must tell them. Your mind races. How can you, a quiet nun in a desert monastery, carry such a burden? But his gaze silences your doubt. It is not about who you are, but about what you have seen. This first vision sears into your spirit, the unseen filter already active, the quiet separation unfolding across the earth. And you realize with a trembling certainty, the rapture has begun, not in spectacle, but in secret. The emotion that floods this first moment is awe, mingled with fear. The tidbit you cannot forget is this: belief without surrender is only information, and the filter has already started to sift. The desert morning had seemed ordinary, yet now, as you hover between earth and eternity, the ordinary peels away like a husk, exposing the truth that was always there but unseen. You recall the rhythm of your life at the monastery, so steady, so predictable, rising with the bell, kneeling in the chapel's dim light, whispering psalms with lips that often moved faster than your heart. Service had been your pattern, cooking simple meals, tending gardens, sowing habits, mending fences, welcoming visitors. It was a life stripped of luxury, a life you thought was already proof of holiness. But as you watch the golden glow around Christ's presence, the truth dawns painfully clear. Even a nun can mistake routine for surrender. The heart can still hide behind ritual. You look down on your body in the garden, motionless beside the broken irrigation pipe. The sisters run toward you now, their sandals slapping the dirt. Sister Margaret kneels, panic in her face. Another rushes to fetch help. The desert hums with cicadas, their shrill cries cutting through the silence of shock. The scene should terrify you, yet all you feel is release. The ache in your knees, the soreness in your back, gone. Instead, weightlessness cradles you. You are freer than you ever remember being. You recall the years at St. Catherine's, the day you took your vows at age 43, trembling in your white veil. The sound of the choir echoing in the chapel, candles flickering as you whispered words of lifelong commitment. 12 years later, those vows still shaped your days. And yet, standing now in the presence of Christ, you understand something sobering. Vows and routines are not the same as surrender. The memory of that last earthly morning replays in sharp detail. The monastery walls, sun-baked and cracked, glowed amber in the early light. The air smelled faintly of sage carried on the wind. You remember how your hands felt gritty from handling soil and pipe fittings, sweat stinging your eyes. You muttered a prayer for patience, more out of habit than desperation. Then the hammer blow in your chest stopped everything. That hammer blow was death's doorway, but death itself felt like waking from sleep. Your last earthly thought, fear of dying alone in the garden, vanished the moment the golden light swallowed you. Instead of abandonment, you felt held. Instead of dread, you felt joy. The contrast was staggering. The monastery's harsh desert against the honeyed glow of heaven's light. Jesus' presence shone brighter than the sun, yet did not blind. You saw the marks of suffering etched in him, but they radiated victory, not weakness. His eyes, impossible to look away, carried both love and a depth of sorrow you could not measure. You whispered, or thought you did, "Lord, I thought I knew your timeline. I thought I understood the end." And in reply, his voice cut straight through. You believed knowledge was enough. But Emily, knowledge without surrender is pride. What I show you now will unmask the truth that has been hidden even from those who call themselves mine. The realization hits with force. Even in the monastery, you clung to a sense of control, wanting comfort in predictability, wanting safety in rituals. You had mistaken the habit for holiness. And if this was true for you, how much more true for millions who live without vows, without the daily rhythm of prayer? The light shifts around you, swirling like pages turning in a vast, unseen book. You see your life written out in glimpses, the times you prayed sincerely, and the times your lips moved while your heart wandered. You see yourself offering comfort to a grieving guest, and then later resenting the inconvenience. The filter Jesus spoke of is visible here too, glowing moments of surrender and shadowed moments of self. And then, the sharp divide appears again across the earth. You watch not only your own life, but the lives of countless others. Congregations, chapels, cathedrals, worshippers swaying with raised hands, choirs lifting hymns. Yet you see through them. Some glow, some fade. Outwardly identical, inwardly divided. The emotion pressing on you now is humility, almost crushing. You thought you understood eternity, thought that your years as a nun guaranteed readiness. But eternity reveals no such guarantees. What matters is not the rhythm of service, but the heart bent in surrender. And Jesus whispers again, "Emily, you see how even the faithful can be lulled. Ritual is not wrong, but ritual without surrender is empty. I am not fooled by appearances. I see the heart. And now, so do you." A tidbit sears into your mind, one you know you must never forget. In every generation, God's filter operates long before visible judgment falls. Noah was marked righteous generations before rain. Lot was warned before the fire fell. Israel's doors were sealed with blood before death swept Egypt. The pattern is the same. Separation happens first in secret, in the unseen realm of the heart. Your pulse quickens, though your body lies lifeless below. This knowledge is heavier than any vow you ever made. You understand now why he has chosen to show you this. The rapture filter has already begun, and most people, yourself once included, do not even realize it. The monastery garden fades, replaced fully by the heavenly vantage. Earth sprawls beneath you, beautiful and fragile. And across it the unseen filter sweeps silently, separating light from shadow, surrender from pretension. The truth is undeniable. Eternity has already reached into time, and the sifting is underway. You stand suspended in the golden light, heart trembling as your eyes meet his. Jesus, not the pale, distant figure painted in your chapel, but the living Christ, radiant, alive, burning with a love that pierces you more deeply than any blade could cut. His presence presses against you like the weight of an ocean, and yet it does not crush. It lifts, it holds, it consumes. You fall to your knees without thinking. Tears stream, unbidden, as though your soul has been waiting a lifetime to release them. Every sorrow you have carried, every private failure, every hidden longing, melted in a single instant by the gaze of his eyes. They shine not just with mercy, but with knowledge. You sense he sees you, utterly. All of you, every vow, every betrayal, every whispered prayer, every unspoken thought. Nothing is hidden, and yet, he does not turn away. You feel small, a speck in the immensity of eternity, but at the same time, cherished as though you were the only one. This paradox overwhelms you. You cannot speak, only weep, only bow lower still. His voice surrounds you. Music, thunder, whisper, all at once. It is a voice you cannot resist. Emily, you have served faithfully in the small things. Now I will show you what is to come, so you may warn my people. Time is shorter than they know. The separation has already begun. The words strike like lightning. Separation? You look around, but there is only light. Yet his tone carries both tenderness and urgency, like a father whose warning comes not from anger, but from love that refuses to remain silent. The scene shifts again, a seamless transition, and you are hovering over the earth. The world spreads below you, oceans glinting, cities pulsing with light, deserts stretching brown and barren. You see it all at once, as though your eyes have been given sight far beyond their earthly limits. And there, across the globe, an invisible motion ripples, like a sieve, like wind through wheat, like unseen fire sweeping quietly. You lean closer. Some people glow, their bodies shining with a warmth brighter than sunlight. Others, though outwardly the same, are cloaked in dim shadow. And yet, in their churches and gatherings, you watch them sing, raise their hands, speak holy words. Outwardly identical, inwardly divided. You whisper, Lord, how can this be? They look the same. His eyes fill with sorrow. They know about me. They speak my name. They even use my words. But they have never truly surrendered. Their hearts remain their own kingdoms, and I am invited only when convenient. They look holy, but they are not mine. Your breath catches. You see preachers who stir crowds with eloquence, yet in the filter of his gaze their hearts appear barren, lifeless. You see worship leaders moving congregations to tears, yet their own souls flicker cold and dry. You see men and women memorizing scripture, giving offerings, serving tirelessly, and yet, shrouded in shadow. The pain in his voice is unbearable. Knowledge without surrender is only pride. Belief without transformation is only information. Emily, do you see? You nod, trembling. You see, and the sight shakes you. You realize how easily the heart deceives itself. How often you, too, leaned on knowledge, leaned on ritual, without letting him carve surrender deep inside. Still, there are others, the glowing ones. Ordinary, unremarkable in the world's eyes. A single mother, kneeling in her kitchen late at night, whispering forgiveness for an ex-husband who hurt her. A teenager resisting the pull of a crowd, choosing purity though mocked for it. An elderly man who prays alone, unseen, for a community that never notices. Their glow is steady, bright, unshakable. Jesus gestures toward them, his voice swelling with pride. These are mine. Not perfect, not without failure, but surrendered. They have counted the cost. They obey when no one is watching. They love when it costs them something. Their hearts beat in rhythm with mine. The contrast stabs at you. On the surface, the glowing and the shadowed look the same. Same clothes, same hymns, same prayers. But under his gaze, they are worlds apart. The emotion coursing through you is awe, mingled with grief. Awe at his radiant glory. Grief at the sorrow etched into his face as he watches millions live deceived. You realize the filter does not simply separate sinners from saints. It divides the surrendered from the pretenders, the true from the false, the alive from the hollow. A tidbit engraves itself in your spirit here. The harvest does not begin with the reaper's arrival. It begins when the grain is ready. The sifting is not coming. It is already here. The rapture has begun, silently, invisibly, in the hidden chambers of the heart. You kneel, trembling, overcome by the immensity of it all. The garden in New Mexico feels galaxies away. The sisters rushing to your fallen body feel like a forgotten dream. Here, before the living Christ, there is only truth, unveiled, unmasked. And he has chosen you, a simple nun in the desert, to see it and to carry the warning back. The vision does not pause. You are swept higher still, and the earth unfurls beneath you like a map alive with motion. Cities throb with neon veins, villages glow faintly, deserts shimmer in heat. Yet what grips you is not the geography, but the movement of something unseen, something gliding silently over the planet. It is the filter Jesus spoke of, and you watch as it drifts through homes, workplaces, churches, even solitary rooms where no one thinks they are observed. The filter is not a storm, not a visible wind, but you perceive it like a shimmering veil stretched across the continents. Wherever it moves, the difference becomes stark. Some people blaze with soft radiance. Others are cloaked in shadows that cling tighter than their own skin. The unsettling part is how ordinary both groups look from the outside. They dress the same, speak the same words, sit in the same pews. Yet under the filter's gaze, they are entirely different. You lean forward, straining. In a suburban church in Texas, you see congregants raising their hands in worship. The room hums with song, but half glow and half do not. One woman shines as she sings, her voice trembling with surrender. Beside her, a man shrouded in shadow mouths the same lyrics, but his heart is far away, clinging to bitterness he refuses to release. Outwardly identical, inwardly divided. The filter drifts further. In Mexico City, crowds flood a cathedral. Candles flicker, incense rises, chants echo against stone arches. But again, the divide. A teenage boy glows as he kneels, whispering a prayer of genuine repentance. 2 rows away, a businessman bows his head with polished reverence, yet the filter reveals the greed ruling his heart. You recoil. This is no small distinction. It is the difference between life and death, between being gathered or being left. Jesus stands beside you, his expression heavy. Emily, my people think they will recognize the rapture when it comes. They imagine trumpets, sudden disappearance, global spectacle. But the separation begins in secret, long before eyes can see. The harvest is underway already. The words weigh on you like stone. You never imagine the rapture as gradual, hidden, happening even while people eat breakfast or drive to work. Yet what you see leaves no room for doubt. The filter passes through unnoticed, revealing hearts that either glow with surrender or sink deeper into shadow. You shift your gaze. Across the oceans, the same pattern repeats. In Sao Paulo, a young woman hums a hymn as she cleans her small apartment, the glow around her undeniable. In Rio, a preacher thunders from the pulpit, but the filter reveals his heart consumed with pride in his own voice. In Guatemala, an elderly grandmother kneels by her bed, whispering prayers for her grandchildren, her glow radiant, filling the room. And in Los Angeles, a worship team practices with polished skill, but several members are cloaked in shadow, their hearts cold while their voices soar. The contrast burns into you. The filter cannot be fooled by rituals or appearances. It cuts through the surface like fire through paper. Emotion grips you, fear mixed with urgency. If the separation is already unfolding, then millions are being sifted daily without realizing it. You wonder, how many of your own sisters at the monastery would glow? How many would be shadow? The thought chills you, though you already know Jesus has shown you this not to paralyze, but to awaken. Then his voice breaks the silence again. I am not looking for perfection. I am looking for surrender. Hearts that bend when I convict. Souls that obey when it costs them something. The filter measures nothing else. You glance back at the glowing ones. They are not the prominent or the powerful. They are the humble, the quiet, the overlooked. Their obedience in secret shines brighter than cathedrals or sermons. The tidbit fixed in your mind is this. The rapture filter is not waiting for tomorrow. It is moving now, invisible yet decisive, separating wheat from weeds in every corner of the globe. The awe you felt deepens into dread, but not hopeless dread. It is the kind that rattles you awake, that demands action, that insists you cannot go back to casual ritual. The filter is already upon the world. No one can ignore it. The vision shifts, focusing now not on cities and landscapes, but on the hidden recesses of human hearts. Jesus turns your gaze inward, and what you see tears at your spirit. The filter does not stop at congregations or cathedrals. It slips silently into the private places of devotion, exposing the difference between outward religion and inward surrender. You see a preacher in a gleaming sanctuary. His voice rises with authority, his gestures command attention. The congregation listens, nodding, many even weeping. But when the filter touches him, his glow vanishes. His heart pulses with shadow, thick with pride in the applause he receives. Every sermon, though full of truth, has become a stage for his ego. The people think he is holy. Heaven knows he is barren. Another image comes. A worship leader strums a guitar, eyes closed, face tilted toward the ceiling as though lost in song. The crowd sways, moved by the beauty of her voice. But when the filter sweeps through, darkness clings to her. Her voice moves the crowd, but her heart is dry as dust, untouched by the words she sings. She performs for approval, not for surrender. You shudder as the scenes multiply. Bible study leaders who quote verses effortlessly, but live lives dripping with hidden sin. Tithers who give faithfully, but with bitterness clenched tight. Men and women who volunteer tirelessly, yet resent in silence, seeking recognition more than obedience. You whisper through trembling lips, "Lord, they seem so faithful, so devoted." His eyes, glistening with unshed tears, pierce you. "Emily, I never knew them. They know about me. They speak of me. They carry my name as a badge. But their hearts remain their own kingdoms. They never truly surrendered to me." The sorrow in his voice feels unbearable. You want to look away, but you cannot. You are being shown the root deception, one that has blinded millions. Outward appearance is not the test. Knowledge of Scripture is not the measure. Even acts of service are not proof. The filter ignores all surface shows. It cuts only to the truth of the heart. Jesus continues, his tone carrying the weight of eternity. Belief without transformation is information. Knowledge without surrender is pride. My Father is not deceived by rituals. He looks for hearts that die daily, that yield when I whisper, that choose my way when it costs them everything. Your knees tremble under the force of his words. You realize how many times you yourself relied on ritual, prayers recited by memory, vows repeated without fire, service carried out with hidden reluctance. You thought these counted as devotion. Now, under the light of truth, you see them for what they were, moments of pride disguised as holiness. The filter continues to reveal more. Churches in America filled with polished choirs, eloquent sermons, crowded programs. Yet in many pews, shadow dominates. The worship looks identical, the language sounds the same, but only a remnant glows with authentic surrender. You feel grief sweep over you, so heavy you can hardly breathe. These are not distant strangers. These are neighbors, friends, maybe even the sisters who prayed with you that very morning. People who believe they are safe because of what they do, but whose hearts have never bowed fully to Christ's reign. The emotion that consumes this vision is sorrow, deep, aching sorrow mingled with holy fear. You cannot unsee it now. Religion is no shelter from the filter. A tidbit engraves itself sharply into your soul. Rituals are powerless without surrender. Outward devotion may impress men, but it cannot deceive God. Jesus' voice, though heavy, carries a flicker of mercy. "Emily, I do not reveal this to condemn. I reveal it so you may warn. There is still time for hearts to change, though barely." Tell them the filter is not measuring appearances. It is measuring surrender. The weight of his commission settles into your bones. What you once thought was the pinnacle of faith, prayers, rituals, service, now looks like scaffolding without foundation if the heart does not bend. And you know the world is filled with such scaffolding, standing tall but empty, destined to collapse when the filter finishes its work. The light around you shifts again, and now it sharpens into something specific. Suspended above the earth, you see what looks like an immense calendar floating in the heavens. Its pages glow like sheets of fire, each square marked with days and months. Your gaze sweeps across them until it stops on one date circled in brilliant gold, September 30th, 2025. The glow around that day is so intense that it pulses, humming with a gravity you can feel even in your spirit. You whisper, half afraid to ask, "Lord, what does this mean?" Jesus points to the radiant circle, his expression firm, his voice carrying authority that shakes the very air. This is the day when the separation becomes visible. What has been happening in secret will be revealed. The harvest will be complete, and those who are truly mine will be gathered home. The world as humanity knows it will change forever. The words thunder inside you. Less than 11 weeks from now. A date set, sealed in heaven, written not with ink, but with light. Not a vague warning, but a precise moment already chosen. Your pulse quickens, though your earthly body still lies silent in the monastery garden. You try to steady yourself, but the vision presses deeper. The calendar flips rapidly, July, August, pages flying like a rushing wind, each day slipping past with alarming speed. Then it stops again at the golden circle. September 30th glows brighter, brighter still, until it seems the entire cosmos bends toward it. You feel panic rising. Lord, what about those who aren't ready? What about those already shrouded in shadow? His expression is both sorrowful and resolute. There is still time. Barely, but still time. That is why I am sending you back. To warn them. To tell them the filter is not checking attendance or knowledge. It is weighing surrender. Tell them the door is closing. Your spirit trembles. You thought you understood end times. You imagined a sudden rapture, a trumpet blast, the world thrown into chaos in an instant. But here, Jesus reveals something different. The process has already begun, invisible yet unstoppable. The climactic unveiling is not distant. It is marked, circled, days away. The calendar lingers in your vision, and you realize its glow is not only warning, but also mercy. God is giving humanity a final countdown, a final opportunity to turn. The date is fixed, yet the outcome for many souls is not. Every day until that golden circle is a chance to surrender, a chance to glow under the filter's gaze. Jesus' voice cuts through again. Remember Noah. The ark was sealed before the first drop of rain. Remember Lot. The warning came before the fire fell. Remember Egypt. The blood marked the doors before death passed over. Separation always happens before judgment. September 30th will not be the beginning. It will be the revealing. What has been hidden will be seen. The weight of those parallels sinks in. You see Noah hammering wood while neighbors mocked. You see Lot rushing from Sodom while others laughed. You see Israelites marking doorposts while Egyptians scoffed. The pattern is unbroken, and now you are living in the same moment of warning. Your eyes fix once more on the golden circle. 11 weeks. 57 days. You count them, your heart pounding. Each day slipping past is a door closing. The urgency is unbearable. The emotion flooding you now is dread, sharper than before. Not dread for yourself. You are here in his presence, secure, but dread for the millions who do not know, who think they are safe because of rituals, because of appearances. You imagine them waking on September 30th, unaware that the final line has already been drawn. The tidbit etched into your mind is this: God's timeline is not vague. His calendar is precise, and heaven's dates are immovable. Humanity lives as though days stretch endlessly, but in truth, eternity has already circled the final square. You feel your spirit trembling under the weight of responsibility. This is not just revelation. It is a commission. Jesus is entrusting you with a warning bound to a date written in light. September 30th, 2025. The day everything changes. The calendar fades, but its golden circle burns in your memory. September 30th. The number presses into your soul like a brand. Yet the vision does not release you. Jesus gestures again, and suddenly the scenes shift. You no longer see calendars or timelines. Instead, your eyes are opened to individual lives. Ordinary people in ordinary places, each one glowing or dimming beneath the rapture filter's gaze. The first scene appears in Detroit. A single mother, her face lined with exhaustion, kneels beside her bed in a dim apartment. Bills are scattered on the nightstand. The hum of traffic bleeds in through thin walls. Her children sleep in the next room, unaware of her whispered prayer. She is not asking for riches, not even for relief. She is asking for strength to forgive her ex-husband yet again after another broken promise. As the words leave her lips, the glow around her intensifies, warm and steady. You feel it ripple outward, brighter than all the cathedral candles you saw earlier. The scene dissolves into a rural Montana cabin. An elderly man sits at a worn wooden table, Bible open, glasses perched crookedly on his nose. His hands tremble with age, but his lips move with fervent prayer. He prays for neighbors who barely acknowledge him, for young families who pass his cabin without a wave. Hours slip by as he pleads for their souls. The filter surrounds him with light, so pure it floods the room like dawn. Alone, unseen, his surrender glows like a beacon across eternity. Another scene forms. Los Angeles. A teenager scrolls her phone, eyes darting to the flashing notifications from friends. Invitations to parties, temptations hidden in emojis. She hesitates, then sets the phone down, whispers a quiet prayer, and chooses purity though she knows ridicule will follow. Instantly her small act blazes with heavenly fire, her choice burning brighter than the neon lights of her city. You gasp. These are not pastors or leaders. These are not men and women standing on platforms. They are the overlooked, the forgotten, the mocked. Yet they glow more brightly than cathedrals filled with polished worship. Jesus speaks beside you, his voice filled with pride and tenderness. These are my true children. They may not have titles or platforms. They may not be noticed by men, but they have hearts that beat in rhythm with mine. They have learned to die to themselves daily, to choose my way over their desires, to love when it costs them something. The vision shifts again. Chicago. A businessman sits at a desk, an unsigned contract before him. One stroke of his pen could secure wealth, but only through deception. Sweat beads on his forehead as he stares at the paper. Slowly, with trembling hands, he pushes it away. The glow surrounding him pulses strong, bright enough to fill the office. Texas. A mother listens as her teenage daughter spits harsh, angry words. Instead of retaliating, she bites her tongue, pulls the girl into an embrace, and forgives. The filter glows around her, wrapping the room in warmth that outshines the anger. Kentucky. A pastor stands at a pulpit but pauses mid-sermon. Conviction grips him. His words falter. He confesses aloud that his heart has grown cold, and with humility steps down from leadership. His glow burns brighter than the lights on his stage. You watch in awe, tears blurring your sight. The message is unmistakable. The filter is not impressed by reputation. It is moved by surrender in secret moments. Then more visions rush past. A homeless man in Seattle spends his last $5 feeding another beggar hungrier than himself. A former addict in Miami clings daily to sobriety, treating her body as a temple. A teenager in Wyoming refuses to compromise, standing alone against peer pressure. Each glows with light stronger than those who preach with hollow hearts. The emotion flooding you is wonder, laced with conviction. You realize that heaven values differently than earth. The last shall be first, and the first shall be last. The unnoticed, the humble, the broken-hearted who obey, these are the ones heaven crowns with light. The tidbit etched deep in your mind is this: true surrender often looks small, hidden, unimpressive to the world. But under the rapture filter, it blazes brighter than sermons, platforms, or fame. You turn back toward Jesus, your tears falling freely. The weight of what you've seen humbles you, strips you, breaks you. You thought holiness meant vows and routine. Now you see it means surrender in secret, obedience when unseen, love that costs something real. The light thins to twilight, and the air around you cools as if eternity inhales. Colors mute, edges blur, and the vision tilts from soft gold to iron gray. The filter keeps moving, but now you are shown the aftermath for those who remain once the revealing arrives. The hush feels like a hallway between doors. On one side, gathering. On the other, a hard season that tests every motive. You peer downward. Cities glimmer and then flicker, as if a hand passes over their lights. Supply chains knot. Screens freeze. Confusion rises first as a murmur and then as a wave. Governments issue statements that sound steady but shake at the edges. Markets judder. Planes circle. Harbors stall. The earth keeps turning, yet the rhythm slips, a drum suddenly out of time. Wind crosses oceans like a palm smoothing water. Storm bands coil. A mountain ridge shivers and drops stone. Rivers swell where clouds empty, while other riverbeds crack in stubborn drought. Nothing is theatrical. Everything accumulates until no one can pretend it is light. You hear the hum of distant sirens, see hospital corridors glowing under cold bulbs, feel the way people grip each other's shoulders in lines that barely move. The filter keeps working. It no longer sifts in secret. The difference between glow and shadow becomes visible, not in marks, but in choices that harden fast. Some who remain bow low. Others lift their chins and set their faces. The air seems to choose, bending around tenderness and pushing against pride. The line once drawn in hidden hearts now engraves itself into public history. A city square widens beneath you. Crowds surge toward a screen that pours announcements in a hurried cadence. Order, security, compliance. The language is smooth, the promises polished, but beneath them runs the thrum of control. People sign forms they do not read. Others step back, hands shaking, unwilling to trade their souls for a brief calm. The glow around the hesitant ones is faint but steady, like a candle cupped against wind. Shadows thicken around the eager ones who barter conviction for convenience. A kitchen appears. A family gathers around a battery lantern. The father speaks softly, laying out cans, counting with careful hands. The mother writes each child's name on a card and tucks the cards into a small book, as if ink could anchor them. The oldest daughter watches the door, listening for footsteps in the hall. They pray without flourish. No audience, no stage, only breath and hope in a dim room. The filter hangs like a veil. The room warms with quiet light. They will endure, not because they are strong, but because they are surrendered. Another corner rises into view. A chamber gleams with cameras and flags. Leaders lean toward microphones with calm that never reaches their eyes. New coalitions form. New regulations arrive. Convenience sugars them. Lines blur between safety and surrender. Pressure feels like hands at the back of a crowd, urging, hurting. Those who once drifted now must decide. Silence turns into choice. Neutrality becomes a door that locks from the outside. You stand again beside the living Christ. The sorrow in his gaze is deep, yet there is no panic. The great shaking does not create faith or unbelief so much as reveal what already lived inside. Fire does not invent the metal, it shows what it is. For some, heat burns away dross and leaves a brighter core. For others, heat hardens clay that was already set. You see houses of worship with fewer people and heavier air. You see new gatherings in living rooms and warehouses. Songs grow simpler. Prayers slow until they sound like breathing. Scripture, once quoted for applause, turns to bread. People memorize a line and live on it for days. The glow in these rooms is not theatrical. It is steady like coals that don't go out. A jail cell comes into focus. A woman sits on a metal bench, wrists resting on her knees. Fear has visited her face, but peace lives in her eyes. She had been told to deny the name she loves. She had been promised release for a small betrayal. She waited instead, and in the waiting found a presence that filled the room more than any visitor could. The filter gathers around her like a shawl. You almost feel its softness against your own skin. The vision runs forward in a single thread. Supply limits grow teeth. Borders thicken. A map reorganizes itself without changing shape. Voices that once scoffed at faith ask for prayer in low tones. Other voices grow louder, mocking hope as if it were a hazard. The middle ground thins until it is a tightrope. Step left or right, and the rope snaps. A school gymnasium turns shelter flickers into view. Fluorescent lights buzz. Folding cots line the court. A volunteer kneels to tie an old man's shoe, fingers moving slow so he will not be startled. A teenager stands between two arguing strangers and speaks in a voice barely above a whisper until both lower their hands. A nurse traces a small cross in the air when she thinks no one is watching. The filter illuminates these acts until the room seems covered in gentle heat. The emotion soaking this section is solemn dread, tempered by a narrow hope. You are not left with spectacle, but with a pattern you cannot deny. Systems will flex toward control. Light will pool around surrendered hearts. That light will be enough to walk by. Martyrdom will not always look like a stage. Often it will look like small refusals, quiet fidelity, the daily choice to hold to the name that feels like home. One tidbit presses into your memory like a seal. After the revealing, the filter does not stop. It continues to test and to mark even as tribulation rises, because mercy keeps inviting until the last door shuts. The scene loosens its grip. The gray lifts a little, and the air warms by a degree. You realize you have been holding your breath and let it go slowly, like steam from a cup. The earth below keeps turning. The calendar in your mind holds its golden circle, patient and fixed. The warning you must carry is not only about a date. It is about a posture that survives dates. Surrender now. So surrender then is not a shock, but a continuation. You feel again the lightness that first greeted you. It does not erase the gravity of what you have seen, but it steadies like a hand at the small of your back. The path ahead is narrow and real. The message is simple and hard. The rapture filter has already begun. The tribulation that follows is not for prediction, but endurance. Hope remains. It is no longer a crowd's cheer. It is a quiet flame that keeps burning when the room grows cold. The world beneath you spins forward, the calendar still glowing in your spirit. The days slip away like sand through fingers, each one falling faster than the last. Jesus fixes his gaze on you, and you feel the urgency that flows from his heart. The countdown has already begun, and you sense it in your very bones. Emily, his voice trembles with both love and warning. There are 57 days left. The number rings in your ears. 57. Less than 2 months. Time is not stretching, it is collapsing. Every morning that dawns is another rung on a ladder being climbed quickly, every evening another door shutting quietly behind. You cannot escape the urgency. It floods you with both dread and determination. The vision bends. You no longer see continents and governments, but kitchens, bedrooms, cars, and sidewalks, ordinary places where eternity presses in. The filter is no longer subtle to your eyes. It flashes, like lightning tracing hidden routes through the ground. Choices appear stark. A man scrolling his phone late at night hesitates at the edge of temptation, and the filter hovers. A woman debating forgiveness clutches a wound, and the filter waits. A teenager considers compromise for the sake of belonging, and the filter breathes. Each small decision shines or darkens, each one a thread woven into the final tapestry. You understand something with piercing clarity. The filter is not judging once at the end. It is testing daily, moment by moment. The harvest ripens not through grand gestures, but through dozens of private surrenders that no one else will ever see. The countdown makes those moments heavier. Every sunrise is no longer just another day. It is a summons. Every choice, no matter how small, echoes in eternity. The sense of time thickens until you feel it pressing against your skin. You watch again the calendar, its pages flipping down toward the golden circle. July slides into August. August collapses into September. Each square falls away like a heartbeat. You feel yourself whispering aloud, "Lord, they don't know. They don't understand how little time is left." His expression holds both sorrow and resolve. "That is why I am sending you back. To speak plainly. To strip away illusions. Tell them that every heartbeat counts. Tell them the filter does not wait for Sunday mornings. It moves through kitchens, workplaces, cars, grocery aisles. It moves in the silence of thought. 57 days remain for choices that will stand when the harvest is gathered. The burden presses on your chest heavier than the heart attack that dropped you in the garden. You realize this is the true weight, the urgency of souls, the urgency of surrender. You see friends, neighbors, strangers, all moving through days unaware of how close the door is to shutting. Some glow faintly, their surrender fragile but alive. Others appear bright outwardly but are already dim inside. You hear his whisper again. Tell them belief without surrender is not enough. Tell them the filter examines the hidden corners of the heart. And tell them, time is nearly gone. The emotion now is urgency, sharp and relentless. It leaves no space for delay, no comfort in postponement. You feel as though every word must be spoken like fire, every warning carried like an arrow. One tidbit presses deep into your memory, undeniable. The countdown is not symbolic. The number is exact. September 30th is not approximate. It is fixed, circled, written already in heaven's calendar. You glance once more at the earth. The sun rises and sets. Children laugh in playgrounds. Buses rumble through cities. On the surface, life looks unchanged. But underneath, eternity is moving, sifting, counting. The filter glides silently, choosing, dividing, separating. Your spirit trembles. You know that when you return, you must not speak softly or vaguely. You must carry the countdown like thunder. People must feel it, must sense the clock ticking even as they watch your eyes. You realize, the most loving act now is not comfort but warning. The days shorten in your vision. 57, 56, 55. Each pulse of time like a drumbeat drawing closer to the golden circle. You know now that you have seen enough. The vision is pressing you back toward the world you left behind, where your body lies waiting. You are not finished, but you are about to be sent. The tugging begins, soft at first, then insistent, like hands pulling you backward through water. The golden light blurs, the vision of the calendar fades, the glow of Jesus's eyes dim with distance, though his presence still clings to you. You cry out, desperate to stay, but the pull does not relent. His voice reaches you one more time, steady, clear, unforgettable. Tell them the filter has already begun. Tell them September 30th changes everything. Tell them I love them too much to let them sleep through their final chance. Your eyes snap open. You gasp, air tearing into your lungs like fire. You are lying on the cold stone floor of your monastery cell, the crucifix on the wall glowing faintly in the dusk. Tears streak your cheeks. Your chest heaves, alive again, though your heart still pounds with the weight of eternity. You sit up slowly, trembling, clutching the wooden cross hanging at your neck. The memory of the garden returns, the hammering pain, the collapse, the spinning colors. And yet here you are, alive, breath rasping in your throat. Sister Margaret rushes into the room, eyes wide, relief flooding her face. She thought you were gone. You cannot speak the full truth yet, not to her, not in that moment. The vision is too heavy, too sharp. But deep inside, you know your mission has only begun. Days pass, though they no longer feel like days. Every tick of the clock is a countdown. Every sunrise is one step closer to the golden circle you saw etched in heaven. You move through the monastery with new eyes. When the sisters gather for morning prayers, you cannot help but see the filter hovering. Some glow faintly, radiant with surrender. Others stand in shadow, lips moving without heart. Your chest aches as you realize the separation is already visible to you. You begin to write, scrawling down every detail before it fades. The light, the voice, the calendar, the examples of surrender, the warnings of tribulation. You fill page after page, ink smudging as your hand shakes. You whisper as you write, begging God to help you tell it clearly, to shake others awake before it is too late. And then you begin to speak, at first to your sisters, then to visitors who come to the chapel. Your voice carries urgency that startles even you. You no longer preach about discipline, about routine, about traditions. You plead for surrender, for hearts that bow when no one is watching. You tell them the filter is not waiting for someday. It is already here. Your audience grows. Word spreads beyond the monastery walls. Some listen, some scoff, some grow angry. But you press on, the countdown beating in your spirit. 50 days. 45. 40. The urgency drives you. You are no longer just a nun tending gardens in the desert. You are a herald carrying fire in your lungs, a witness who has seen the line drawn in eternity. The emotion that floods you now is resolve. Whatever mockery comes, whatever disbelief surrounds you, you cannot remain silent. The love in Jesus' eyes will not let you. His sorrow burns in you. His urgency compels you. You are living proof that the line between life and death, between shadow and glow, is thinner than a breath. One final tidbit presses itself into your heart. Surrender is not a one-time prayer, not a single vow. It is a daily choice. The filter does not pass by once. It hovers, watching, weighing, revealing. And every moment until September 30th is an opportunity to bend, to bow, to yield. You rise from your writing desk, your knees stiff, your eyes swollen from tears. You step outside into the desert evening. The sky is painted red and gold, the horizon glowing like fire. Cicadas hum again, the same sound you heard the day you fell. But now it sounds like a clock ticking, a drum beating toward a day the world does not yet see. You lift your face to the sky. The countdown continues. The mission is clear. The filter has already begun. The harvest is almost complete. September 30th changes everything. And you, Emily Martinez, are the messenger sent back with trembling lips and burning eyes to tell the world before the door closes. Slowly, softly, the vision fades into memory, but its weight never leaves you. The desert winds still blow, the monastery bells still toll, the world still spins as though nothing has changed. Yet everything has changed. You know now what most do not. The filter is moving even as people sleep, work, and laugh. Each heartbeat carries eternal weight. Each choice either glows or darkens under the unseen sieve. September 30th, 2025, is circled in heaven. To most, it will arrive like any other day. But you have seen beyond the veil. You have heard the voice of the living Christ. You know that the hidden separation will at last be revealed, and the harvest will be gathered. And so you speak, not with eloquence, not with the polish of rehearsed sermons, but with the trembling urgency of one who has seen. You tell them time is short. You tell them surrender is the only measure. You tell them Jesus loves them too much to let them sleep through their final chance. The images remain with you. The single mother forgiving again, the elderly man praying in secret, the teenager choosing purity. These glow brighter in eternity than any platform or performance. And you know the same light is offered to all who bow now, before the door shuts. So you close this message with a whisper, gentle and steady. If these words resonate with you, please write an amen in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and share it with at least 3 friends or family members right now. Now is your time to make a difference. Spreading this message is not only an act of love, but also a mission that Jesus himself has entrusted to you.